All right, if you have the link to this video, then that means that you have agreed to be on the Jen Lowry Writes podcast, and you're going to be my special guest. And I cannot wait, just to hear your story, to hear the tips that you can share with the other authors on the channel, just talk about your journey, and to promote your work. So I'm really excited that you're going to be on the show. So let's talk about how this goes on, because they have changed it. I made a video earlier, right when I started this in January, and even since then they changed it. So you're going to have to go into your app store and you're going to have to download the Anchor app. Okay. So the Anchor app, it's purple, as you know, my favorite color. So I did not design it, but it just matches. And I love the anchor idea because it reminds us that we should be anchored in Christ. Like, I look at it even as I know it's not a biblical reference, but for me it is. So Anchor is really easy to use. And people ask me, well, why did you go to Anchor? Like, why don't you Skype with me? Well, as you can see, like, this is my bedroom. My office space is like half of this room. I don't have all the fancy backdrops that people have when they do all their podcasting. And maybe one day I'll get there, but right now, no. I'm still praying about that and how to set everything up. And I do have some ideas, like partitioning half of my room and using that as my podcast studio. So we'll see. Maybe this summer we'll advance to that. But in the meantime, I'm not doing the video recording and the audio recording, doing audio recording strictly for the podcast as of now, which is March 31st, 2019. But God always has ways of surprising me. So we never know. So you get the app. You've got to use your phone because the computer is not going to work. Okay. They do not have the capability on Anchor for us to be able to do that. So it's going to be just like me and you having a grand old conversation on the telephone. And what I'm going to do on the day of our scheduled time, I'm going to call you like 10 minutes before, because you never know how long this thing takes. So I just want you to know that on my end, I'm actually sitting here because this is kind of like the quietest place in the house because the kids are all over everywhere. And the TV is very loud from downstairs with my husband watching YouTube videos or watching a show or something like that. So this is pretty much my little spot I get. I'm going to be here 10 minutes beforehand, and I'm going to be trying my best to contact you. So what I would love it is, so whatever way we're communicating, if it's through email, if it's through LinkedIn, if it's through Facebook Messenger, I would love it if you could have that up. Because if we start having technical difficulties, I don't want you to panic at all. I want you to know that we'll just reconnect right back. But if I'm actually having trouble connecting with you from the beginning, that's what I need to know. And we can troubleshoot and we can make it work. We can hop on over to another platform. We can record audio and Lord willing, it'll work. It'll do its thing. I know it because we're meant to have this interview together. That's how I feel. So technical problems probably will happen because, one, I'm not tech savvy and perfect. Two, no app is perfect. No internet service is perfect. So I'll give you some tips though, because here's what's happened in the past. There's a place on when you first pull up your app, and it'll ask you, do you want it to access your microphone? If you don't click yes, then we're not going to go anywhere any further. It's not going to record any audio. So that has happened in the past with an interview. Another time, I would send out the message and they would say there would be a long delay for them to be able to receive it, which was really scary on my end because like I kept sending it and I would send it on, Gmail. I would send it in their Facebook message, their LinkedIn message. I was getting anything because this person did not give me their telephone number and I wasn't able to send them a quick text message. So we did work around it and it actually worked, but it just takes some patience on both of our parts. So I don't want you to have any fears about it at all. I'll never forget when I first started doing interviews. I had an interview and it would go in and it would go out. And what was happening is the person was moving all around. You see me, I'm stationary. I'm just going to be chilling, relaxing. This is kind of my zone right now. But this person, they kept moving. Well, while they would move throughout their house, they would have maybe parts of their internet maybe weren't strong. They would have a weaker signal in an area. And so it was lagging out. And I can hear that on my end. I can actually hear the breaks. And I would be like, oh no, I'm losing you. So if that happens, that's a technical issue. Like find the closest place to, I guess, your router or whatever, your strong signal spots in your home or your business or wherever it is we're making contact. And let's just call from there. So what I'll do is I'll pull up my app. Okay. You do not have to be in the Anchor app for this to happen. And hopefully you've given me your cell phone number. I'm not going to, text you after this. It's not like this is for business purposes. And I'm going to start up a new episode. And when I start up a new episode, my screen is going to look like this. Now, I don't need you to call me because if you do, then you're recording me for your platform, and you might have just created an account. You have to create an account. It used to be so easy. All we had to do was star each other. We go through the app. It's not like that anymore. Of course, they're going to make it more complicated. But when I come here, I have the plus sign, and I'm going to hit this record button. And when I do hit the record, I'm going to invite a friend. It gives us this elevator music. I kind of dance to it, honestly, while I'm waiting on you to pick up. So it kind of relieves my anxiety. At least I get a little bit of the music. So I have all of these options for how I can connect with you. So you see this. So honestly, my favorite one is just to hit this text button. And when I do, I'm just going to send you a text message and it's going to come up on the screen. And I'm sorry, it's late. So it says, come join my recording on Anchor happening right now. And when I hit send, you're going to get this Anchor icon that's going to pop in just through your regular text messages. And when you click on that, you're going to hear a recording. And that recording is going to say, would you like to record? Kind of thing. You got to get permission to do these things. And by you clicking in, you're going to be with me and we're going to start our interview session. Now, the good thing about Anchor is that for me to call you ahead of time, like I said, I'm going to start trying to call you 10 minutes before, just in case I have to start problem solving here and I have to get on and start emailing you or sending you a text message. Did you get this? Are you getting it? Are you seeing it? So within that 10-minute frame, if you absolutely see nothing from me, know that on my end, I'm really trying to connect with you. It's not like I'm forgetting. I'm not standing you up. I've been stood up before. It doesn't feel good. If I do have an emergency or something that, Lord willing, I hope not, I pray that everything is okay. But let's just say there is an emergency that comes up, or if I'm stuck in traffic after work, or I can't get home at that 4 p.m. time or whatever time that we set up on our Eastern time schedule, then I'll send you a message and I'll say, can we just look at a different time today? Because this has happened. I had no control over it, but I've never had to reschedule an interview. And I've been doing these pretty on a good weekly basis since January. But like I said, if you are thinking on that other end, well, I'm going to stand her up, just send me an email and say, I've changed my mind. I don't feel it can fit my schedule right now with the podcast, instead of just me sitting here trying to contact you for like 30 minutes and then I'm getting no response. I mean, that was a very awkward night for me. And I done a lot of prep work for the podcast. Like I do all podcasts, anytime that I am working with someone, I am not only reading their materials, all on their social media, really checking everything thoroughly. Hopefully that I'll be able to bring up some points in the interview that could be helpful to readers and to listeners and to authors, because that's what this is all about. It's not only just making you shine in this experience, but by giving valuable information back to our community of writers that are following the Jen Lowry Writes podcast. So what's going to happen next is when we start to talk, whatever that intro piece that we say, sure, it's recording, but I can edit it out. One thing I love about Anchor is that I can maneuver the editing tools. And I'll just start talking, and then I'll get to this point where I'll say, okay, are we ready? Do you have any questions? And I'll probably say, don't panic if it goes out. There is also a time limit. So Anchor has a 60-minute time limit. So the minute that we start to record, I'll kind of look down at the bottom of my computer screen and I'll see what time it is and I'll mark it down. And I'll try to keep tabs on the time. And when we're starting to get to an hour, let's say we're on a roll with conversation, and I usually do speak about 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes over an hour with interviews. It's just where the Holy Spirit leads. And I don't feel guilty about it at all. Joe Rogan has 3-hour podcast. If somebody's listening and they're interested, they'll listen. They'll come back later even to listen. They might not be able to listen to it all. Like if they're, taking their kids to the ball game or something like that, they might have limited time in the car or whatever. They'll pick us back up. So I always like to end with you reading your favorite Bible verse and you praying for our listeners. And then we'll do a closeout. I always have a tagline at the end with a closeout. But sometimes when we're talking, and I know that we're reaching that 60 minutes, I'm just going to let you know, hey, we're at our 60 minutes, guys. I'm going to hang up. I'm going to call you right back. And we're going to pick up right where we were. So if I stop you, I'm not trying to be rude. I just know that this thing is going to possibly cut off. Funny, it says it only records 60 minutes, but sometimes I've got 62 minutes on here and it's fine. It doesn't cut off. My thing is I don't want to test it. I don't want to play around with it. I want to make sure that I get the full entire interview. So I would, call you back. And we'll talk. We'll share. I'll ask you questions. I've already sent you the framework if you've made it this far. So you have the Jen Lowry Writes podcast framework. You understand that we're a Christian-based podcast. I'm probably going to be bringing up the Lord maybe once or twice or a few times. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I've missed. Okay, so send me your picture. So I can send me a picture of your book. I'm going to place whatever you want me to feature. If you're an illustrator, send me your picture. If you're a lyricist, you want to send me like a clip of a song or just you being snazzy, whatever it is, because that's going to be on the thumbnail. And I'm going to create that, and then I'll send you pictures of those. I will send you the link. And I don't hold the links. I just want to let you know I'm not going to do this and wait till like a week later to send you the link. I'm going to edit what I need to edit, take care of anything that needs to be taken care of on that end. The thumbnail's already going to be pre-made because I'm going to have that ready before the show starts. So that way when I upload everything, that's why it's really easy if you send me like all of your social media links. I can just copy, paste, put it right into the details. I've kind of figured this out because I have to leave the interview, go cook, and homeschool. So I try to do this as very efficient as I can, but I will let you know that I will send you the link probably within the hour if I don't have a lot of editing to do. It shouldn't take me that long for processing, editing, and doing everything that I've got to do on my end. And it'll be for you to promote and for you to shout out and share with everybody on your sites as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. I am so grateful that I met you, and I'm just excited to share your story with everybody. So I hope that this has been helpful, especially for people who have never used this, have been on podcasts before, but maybe have never used Anchor before. So send me your cell number if you have it by this time. If you would prefer for us to go through LinkedIn or Facebook message through the Jen Lowry author page, go ahead and like that page. Go ahead and find me on LinkedIn. We can also send it through Twitter. I've never tried Twitter before, but just however, we can send it through email. Email worked when I was working overseas. So that could be something that you might want to go through, is just go through the email. But you are going to have to pull up your email on your phone. All of this is going to have to be through your cell phone. So if you have any additional questions, though, please don't hesitate to email me, reach out to me, and I'll work through them. So I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.